This is the visual representation of the trace that has been captured. The detailed graph represents the calls which are being made in order to satisfy the initial request. Each rectangle corresponds to a span, and each span belongs to a span layer. A single span layer can contain multiple spans. The width of each span represents the time spent in that span, with the parent span at the top and the dependent spans below it. Asynchronous calls are also shown on this diagram. However, the time of such calls only represents the entire time taken and is not dependent on the time the child spans are taking. You can also click on any span to view the raw data associated with it. This is also where the code profiling data is accessible. There is also a table below the diagram which shows the relative start time of each span layer, its total duration, how much of the trace duration that represents, the number of spans in each span layer, and if there are any errors associated with the span layer. There are also tabs for isolating queries, which are organized into query digest, showing the count of times such queries were executed, their average execution time, as well as the total time spent making such queries. We have switched to a different trace that contains errors to demonstrate the Errors tab, which shows the associated span layer the error was caused by, the service, and the occurrence time. Also note there are red exclamation points on top of the overview chart showing where along the trace the errors occurred. Finally, the Logs tab will show all logs associated with this trace. This is achieved by injecting the trace ID into the log messages, and then an automatic filter is created to find logs which have that unique trace ID.